but World War II was the one where the kids about your age had gone into the service, and probably a few of them were lost.
Yeah, see, my cousin, Norman Richmond, that retired from the Navy, he was in the service, and of course he was at Pearl Harbor at that time.
Did you have playmates when you were a little girl, or just play around here?
Dorothy and Thelma Goodwin that lived down here where the Oliver Bank is, were my close friends.
What did you play?
What did we play?
You play dolls or tag or?
Well, we didn't. I don't know if we played too much. Now, at one time the superintendent lived up here at this house, and he had 2 girls, and we played house. I'd go up there and I'd play on this side of the fence, and they'd play on that side.
And did you take dolls out there to?
Yeah, big build houses, big rocks.
Did your dad have a shop here on the place? I know there's a little barn back here, and you had a chicken house. Were you in charge of taking care of the chickens, or that was Daddy's deal? Whose deal?
My mama did.
Mama had the chickens.
The mother had chickens.
And the garden.
Mother had garden, and Daddy didn't do nothing about that. Only said he'd put his feet under the table.
Did you help your mama cook in the kitchen?
No, because she usually had boarders. She didn't have time.
Oh. She didn't have time to mess with a little girl.
No.
She had business.
And my job was drying the dishes, and I hated it.
Okay.
I hated and I hate dishes to this day. That's why I've got a dishwasher.
Well, Betty kind of hated that too till she got a dishwasher.
Actually, I liked it when we were married, because the kids would leave me alone while I was doing dishes. They were scared I was going to make them work, so they just stayed away.
Well, did you have a favorite Sunday school teacher? Did Ethel Womack ever teach you Sunday school? I know she was.
No, I don't think so. I guess Mama Merle. Merle was probably the teacher then.
And that's Bert Merle's wife. And that's Portia's grandmother. And probably Jane's grandmother too. So there's a little connection there. How often did you go to Springfield?
Not very often. The only time, really the most time I went to school, was Dorothy and Thelma, their daddy was a mail carrier. And they had a family car, and he had a route car.
Okay.
Well, we would go to a movie, and Mother would have of course she had the cow and the chickens and the hogs, and she'd have feeds. I'd gather them feed sacks up, take them down to the mill to Mr. King, and sell them. And that's my money to go to the shows on. And we'd go to the movie. Lester would you didn't have to have driver's license then.
Yeah.
And Lester would let Dorothy and Thelma and I go to a movie.
He would take you?
No.
No.
Dorothy drove.
Oh, okay. Okay. Even how old was she? This is when you're in high school?
Yeah.
She was probably 15 or 16.
Yeah.
Well, that's a little risky. But
well, we didn't have travel like that.
Did your parents have a car?
Yeah.
But they rarely went to Springfield. Everybody shopped in what store here in Fairgrove?
Well, Mother, of course, Mother always had chickens and
selling eggs.
And she had the cow that she milked, and she had a little cream separator that she had in the cellar, and she'd separate the cream. On Saturday morning, when I was little, I would take that bucket of cream over to Velsie. He tested the cream.
Velsie Hood.
Yeah. And then in the afternoon, she would take her basket of eggs. I still have her egg basket in there. And and she would buy staples. All she'd ever buy would be coffee, salt, sugar, the staples, because she raised what she ate, made what she raised.
What was in her garden? What she planted?
Well, she had garden all over the place. I mean, and she had a push plow, which she called Old Grunt.
Old Grunt?
You know what you tell. But she raised everything. And then back of the barn, here back there, she had a truck patch, and that's where she'd put her corn, and she raised black-eyed peas, she played crowder peas and all that kind of stuff. So like I say, she ate what she raised what she ate.
I haven't been in your basement. I guess she had shelves down there that she put canned goods?
Yeah, in this, where it was my utility.
Yeah,
Her cell
okay,
room.
Just right in here.
Yeah,
okay.
At that end of that hall. And that wall was made in 1919, I think.
Well, did she can alone, or did she have a friend that helped can?
Oh, she canned it all.
And you had a gas stove in here, or an electric stove, or a...
She had a wood cook stove.
Wood cook stove.
And she had that, I guess, and she didn't get that until after I was married. She didn't get her electric stove until after I was married.
So it was pretty hard going, wasn't it?
Yeah, you bet.
She baked all of her own bread, probably made bread every couple of days.
No, she never did bake bread.
Oh, well.
Only biscuits and cornbread.
Well, where'd you get the bread? She just ate cornbread rather than white bread?
She made cornbread every day. At 11:45, she put her bread in, and Daddy would come up, and it would be done by the time Daddy got here for lunch. And of course, she had biscuits for breakfast. But my mother never did make yeast bread. I'll never remember. But then after she would go to the store, she'd buy.
And that's your kind of specialty now, isn't it? Everybody wants to eat Reba's rolls.
No, loaf bread.
Loaf bread, okay. What happens when you have club here? What does everybody bring to club?
What do they bring?
They had bring the same thing?
Well, different things, different side dishes, and salads, and green bean. That I'm having club this next Wednesday.
Are you a charter member of this club? Have you been going as long as it's been?
My mother was a charter member.
Okay.
When it was the WPFA club, it was where it started out as an auxiliary to the MFA.
Okay.
And when the MFA went out, why we changed over to the Sunshine Club, because there's no longer no MFA at that time.
Which has been about 20 years ago, you think? Something like that?
Yeah, because I moved back here in '89, and I've been doing it ever since. I ain't never done.
You used to sing in a quartet.
Yeah, I was in the ladies quartet. I was also in a school quartet at school, and then I was in the ladies quartet for years.
Did they have a music teacher over to school?
Mm-hmm.
Who was?
Charlotte Barrick was a school teacher when I was in school, and she lived next door to Jerry Richardson at that time.
Oh, up on the hill.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember teaching piano or anything like that?
No, I never did teaching.
You worked a time in the post office. Did you work prior to that?
Yes, when I moved back to Fairgrove, after the boy's daddy died, and I bought the place out east of school here, I moved back, and that was when the GI program was in. And I worked for Elton Williams as the bookkeeper. Of course, I took typing in school, but I hadn't typed or anything. But that opening came, and I got that job as the secretary to Elton Williams with the GI program.
Where was Elton Williams at? I mean...
He was the agriculture teacher.
Oh, with the school?
Yes.
Okay.
And then that fell through with. But I continued to work with the school in the kitchen, lunchroom. And I was working with at the lunchroom when the school burned.
In '54, I believe that was. And that was on a weekend, and they were patching the roof, I believe, and cut the roof on.
I never remember well what I was doing that day. I was in my back, I had a back porch out there, and I was dressing chickens that day. And I looked out and saw the smoke.
Who worked with you at the lunchroom in the school?
Ruth Swansea, Leo Bass, and Evelyn Odell. But I can also go farther back.
Go ahead.
And
we've got all the time in the world.
Tell you that the first school lunches that we had was on a Friday. Under the stairway in the basement, down under the stairway, they had an oil stove, and I I guess it was probably just once a month. Mae Emerson, Clara McKee, Hat Goss, and Myrtle Tracy would come over, and they made hamburgers.
As a treat?